Okay. I've got my trusty right-hand man, Quentin, here with me too. You guys have all talked to Quentin. Um, so the goal of this call is to film is not necessarily to be super clinical. So I'm gonna give you guys an overview of Amnion, what we do with it, where we sell it, and a little bit about how the programs work. And then we'd like to get everybody onto clinical calls with our nurse practitioners and our doctors that host Zoom calls or send you guys recorded Zoom calls if you can't jump on live and ask live questions, so that you guys can understand the ins and the outs of what we're asking you to do and the opportunity that we're offering you. So if there's something specific you want outside of that, please let me know now and I'll make sure I cover it. But I think that's where we'll start. So everybody's muted, so we'll just keep going. So again, real quick, my name's Tim Watson. I'm one of the owners of RevoGen. We started RevoGen in 2019 to market bone graft to our spine surgeons that we work with in San Antonio, Texas, and Amnion. And then we got into the wound care space, maybe a little over now, 2 years, about 2 years ago. And we use a lot of Amnion in the operating room. And now we're doing Amnion to eye doctors. So for those of you that don't know what Amnion is, when a woman has a healthy baby born by C-section, they will collect that placenta and they'll process it. And the inner lining of the placenta, where the baby grows, is amniotic tissue. So it's the innermost layer of tissue that the babies grow in to become, what we all are, human beings and healthy kids. So it's not from, just to clear up it's not anything weird or technical. It's just Amnion. So it's very simple product. Comes in many different shapes and sizes, little discs that we put on the eye that you can imagine. We have presses that cut this into any shape or size that you want to use it in, and you can fold it over on itself and make it in the eye. We use a single layer, so it's a very thin product that is more comfortable to wear on your eye. In surgery and for wound care, it's a dual layer, so it's just folded over onto itself. It doesn't matter if it's up or it's down, and it just makes it a little bit thicker, a little bit easier to handle if you're putting it through a robot in surgery, or if you're putting it into a deeper wound bed. You want a little bit more of the Amnion there with it. So that being said, I'm going to share my screen. We'll start with ocular. And I think the ocular is the kind of the low-hanging fruit. Again, RevoGen, just so we kind of talk about, like, I'd say 99% of our distributors have day jobs and they have full-time work, but when you're in the sales world, you have a lot of downtime. So when you're not working with your customers, or your company has you stymied in a territory and you can only call on these doctors and you can only sell these products, we open up doors for you to be able to sell new products. And specifically in the office setting, that's Amnion, right? So if I can find my Dropbox, I'm sorry guys, I will find it. So the first one is and probably the most easy to talk about, and the easiest to start with is optical. So optical Amnion. Can everybody see my screen, or can somebody tell me if they can see my screen?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, good. All right, Quentin's here. Quentin can see it. Okay. So, okay. So this is your marketing piece for optical Amnion. It's just a brochure, like a leave behind, you guys understand what a marketing piece is anyway. I'm just being stupid here. So it's a single layer product, like we discussed. It's one sheet of amnion cut into circular shapes. So you have an 8 millimeter, 10 millimeter, 12 millimeter, 14 millimeter, 16 millimeter disc. You're going to sell primarily 90% of the time an 8 or 10 millimeter disc. And it's just a single layer. They ship in envelopes. So they're and I'm sorry, I don't have on my Dropbox, I don't have an envelope, but it's kind of a neat little designer envelope that because as you can imagine, you don't need a big box. It's just a little thin product. So our amniotic disc for the eye is called RevoShield, and these are kind of the high points. So it's for corneal disorders, all kinds of disorders of the eye. It's a room temperature product, 5 year shelf life. You can put it, it doesn't matter which way you apply it to the eye. Very thin, very comfortable to wear, and it has CPT codes. So they bill this code. The national average is around $1,400 reimbursement to the optometrist or the ophthalmologist. An optometrist is just an eye doctor that measures you for contacts, checks your vision, fits your glasses. So this is kind of like a procedure or a surgery for those people. And then the eye surgeons, the ophthalmologists, will use it also pre-cataract surgery, post-cataract surgery, for a lot of different reasons. So the kind of some of the disorders of the eye that they use these on, there's quite a few of them, but get used to just saying this is for, corneal issues. The most, the product that you will bump into the most in the field is a frozen contact called Procara. And it has, the product is embedded into a thick contact lens. It's very uncomfortable to wear, and they pay about $700 or $800 for that product, and they get the same $1,400 reimbursement. It's the same code placement of the amnion on the eye without suture. So you guys will have the flexibility to price these down to $200. If you got to go below that, we need to have a conversation, and we can make one-off exceptions. But so this dehydrated membrane will solve about 80 or 90% of corneal issues. And they lay this on the eye, and then they put what they call a bandage contact on top of this to hold it in place. So it's just a temporary non-vision correcting contact that holds the amnion over the cornea, and in 4 days the amnion is gone. It's resorbed into the body, and hopefully your corneal issue is much better, and you can proceed to your next step of treatment. So it's a pretty simple deal. When you sign up a clinic for this, there's an onboarding form that you're going to fill out. They can scan these QR codes and get the brochure. And so you just fill out a simple onboarding form for your customer. This is the clinic. These are I'm the rep for this clinic. And you would obviously let us know what you're going to price the product. We sell these from 175, 190 up to 350 in some cases. So depending on your your style of sale, you can work with your customer. You kind of go down to the bottom line if you just want to get them going. And but you will have some flexibility with your customers on pricing anyway. So in terms of the sales process for this, what I would recommend is, and we'll cover this more in depth in another call, is you can introduce yourself. Cole Watson is one of our sales managers. He'll send you guys the studies for ocular. Like we'll have this stuff electronically. You're going to bump into probably a little over half the customers that are not currently using these products. And then maybe another 20 to 30% that are using the frozen lens, but paying a lot of money for that. And it's overkill for most corneal issues. So I would recommend that you introduce them to the concept of these, especially just the regular eye doctors. I would start clinically and then I would end financially. So it's always, Amnion is a very amazing product. It does a lot of stuff, as you're going to see in wound care. There's so many things about Amnion that doctors are interested in, and in the eye world is just healing the cornea. So if you can show them good summarized studies of Amnion's acceptance in their field, and obviously it has established reimbursement, so the medical providers, the insurance companies, the private insurers have all recognized this and they cover these. So that's the path that I would go down with this product. We'll send you guys a starter kit, which is going to have these brochures, leave behinds. You guys will be responsible. We can help you. You'll be responsible for buying your business cards. If you want business cards, I recommend always myself to make your own business card for your LLC, your company, so that you can use that for a variety of things you sell, and you can become bigger and carry more products even from other companies besides RevoGen. So this is really you guys building your business. I trust you. I'll help you any way I can in that process. But that's the overview on ocular. Any questions? Anybody want to chime in here? Anything, concerns, questions? You'll have plenty of opportunities to hop on the phone with Dr. Chandler Mann, who's our local guy, eye doctor, and he's going to do Zoom calls. We'll have recorded Zoom calls with him where you can learn clinically where and why he uses these discs, and we'll get you up to speed on that. That's a different call. But any general questions? Okay. So next product, let's switch to Amnion for wound care. So that's ocular, single layer, easy on the eye. Wound care is a dual layer, and a little different on a number of fronts. Your target doctor's changing, obviously. So you're going to be targeting wound care doctors, and wound care doctors are probably the highest volume. Wound care doctors are going to be vascular surgeons. Because wounds are a circulation issue in the body, and wounds happen in your feet, your legs, trunk sometimes. But the words you'll hear most of the time are diabetic foot ulcer. We call them DFUs, or venous leg ulcers, VLUs. And those are just, you have diabetes, you have circulation issues, you're not getting enough blood flow to the area. And what we're trying to do is prevent amputation. We're trying to accelerate healing. We also have so you have vascular surgery, podiatrists that will treat a lot of diabetic foot ulcers. You have wound care specialists, so you can Google wound care doctors in your area. They can be family practice, internal medicine, or whatever, but they specialize in wound care. And plastic surgeons will do wounds to cosmetically fix them. That's the main wound care doctors. And then there's a subset of dermatology that we do very well with. They're called Mohs surgeons, MOHS. And that's just a dermatologist that's a surgeon, and they're cancer surgeons, and they're removing cancer all over the body from sun. I personally I turned 50 this year. I just had a cancer taken off my ear. You get that done by a Mohs surgeon, and they'll put this amniotic tissue over the acute wound that they created, cutting the cancer out, and it helps you heal. So elderly patients, they'll cut big chunks of their head off, like big chunks off the top of their head, or off the side of their head, or off the side of their nose. And the only way to fix that is to take skin from another part of the body and graft it back into that site, or do a complex closure So you really subject, or they have to go into the operating room and be put under general anesthesia to be fixed by plastic surgeons. And now you're giving them a product that will heal that, and we'll show you pictures of that. We'll show you success stories. And amnion is very well accepted in the wound care world. The difference in wound care and than ocular is wound care is the Mohs surgeons are tough to get to. They're kind of like neurosurgeons. They're not very accessible, so you got to be smart. They have huge egos. Podiatrists a little bit easier. Vascular surgeons are, kind of hard to find sometimes, but in wound care, the volume is very big. The dollar amounts are very big. These are very expensive products in wound care. They're not like ocular. They're some of these patches, like this one in the picture, the doctors are paying up to $16,000 to $20,000 for that product. So you can imagine your commissions are that much larger. So if you land a wound care doctor, or if you have relationships with any of these people, and they feel like that the economic benefit to using RevoGen's product matches what they're doing, or it's better, these are the whales that you're bagging that really change your life economically. So wound care is very lucrative with the amnion, but it's also more difficult of a relationship to cultivate with some of these guys. So same thing here. It's a dehydrated amniotic membrane. It's room temperature. It's just 2 layers of amnion. A lot of wound care is based on the deal that Medicare has for the product that you're selling. So our current product, and we have 2. This is the one we'll talk about today. Each of these products has their own code, their own Medicare code. It's here on the brochure. And Medicare assigns, it's Medicare and TRICARE patients only. And then Medicare assigns reimbursement to your Q code. So in our current code is paying roughly $1,000 per square centimeter. So you can see probably the average in Mohs surgery is a 2x2, a smaller patch. In like a diabetic foot ulcer or venous leg ulcer, you're talking about a 4x4 or 4x6. 4 centimeters by 4 centimeters is 16 units. So Medicare pays $15,200 for that patch. You can see what they pay for a 4x6. And interestingly enough, you don't heal in wound care from one patch. So you put the patch on, it takes a week to resorb into the body. You come back and you get another one. And then you come back and you get another one. And as your wound shrinks, they shrink the size of the patch that they put on. But usually for diabetic foot ulcer, venous leg ulcer, you're probably talking about 4 to 7 treatments. You can do up to 10. So it's a recurring revenue stream, money-making machine. You guys are not in the offices when they're applying these patches. So it's not going to affect your day job. You are educating them, bringing them up to speed, getting them signed up in a similar manner to the ocular. We have reimbursement people that help them, and I'll speak to that next. But you're not there for them to do this patch. I mean, to put a 4x6 patch on, they're spending 5 minutes with the patient. They're cleaning the wound, which we call debridement. They're prepping the site, they're getting it ready, and then they're applying the amnion to the site, hydrating it, and then bandaging over it. And then the patient comes back a week later and they do it all over again until that patient heals. So this is approved for up to 10 treatments. So this is what Medicare pays them, as you guys can see. And how do they make money? We provide them a discount off of the product, off of what Medicare pays them. In this current, with this product, they pay $570 a unit, and they make this $950. It's actually plus 6%, so it's $1,007 they get paid, and they get reimbursed $1,007. They get paid $570. And so their profit is that delta between those two. And lost my train of thought there. So also we give them 60-day terms. So Medicare takes about 30 days to pay. So they'll order these, they'll apply them to the patient, they'll bill for them, they'll get paid, and then they pay us. So that's the process. We don't have them pay us $15,000 before they get paid for a 4x4 patch. So I think that's an important point, something that you guys will learn in greater detail as we do a few more trainings. But again, this is the high level overview. Similar thing here, you're not going to bump into really any wound care doctors that question the use of amnion in wound care. You're going to bump into optometrists that are old school, that were trained a long time ago, that might not understand amnion in the eye, but that's not going to happen in wound care. So you're not going to have to clinically sell them on why they should use amnion, but it is nice for you guys to understand the ins and outs and what amnion can and can't do, and be able to speak educated about that. So again, that goes to reading up on the studies that Cole will send you, and listening in to the clinicians talk about their experience with them, or watching our recorded calls with our clinicians that talk about their clinical experience. And I, as a veteran in the healthcare field, I recommend that you guys become clinical and not just sell on financial, because doctors, you know, if you're a resource to these guys and you have cool videos on your phone and you're a resource and you can provide them interesting information and relevant stuff, you're just better than the guy that's just, you know, looks like you know, you're just selling on financial. So again, here's the marketing piece. That this is like what I would call the leave behind. And the timeline goes like this. You find somebody, you say, okay, yes, I'm interested in using your amnion. You'll have them fill out the onboarding. This is the order form. I'm sorry. This is an onboarding. This is actually the rebate agreement and onboarding form. So the paperwork is pretty simple. You guys put your names up here. This is your doctor. You're going to be the rep. You're getting paid the commission. This is the doctor's name, their practice name. This stuff is important, you guys. The products are expensive. There's a lot of money changing hands here. It's very high dollar sale, and that repeats over and over again on the patients. So you need to fill this stuff out so that my team knows who we're shipping these products to. So the doctor, the name of their practice, where they want to receive these grafts, who in their office is going to receive the grafts. This is your inside person that you're establishing a relationship with, that this is the person you're building your customer service with, right? The doctor might just be busy working, but you're going to have somebody in that office that you're close to that's going to run the insurance verifications for you, tell you who's approved, who's not approved, and they're going to receive the grafts in the clinic. We need to know their phone number. We need to know who that person is. And then down here, who does their billing. So the address that, you know, they might have a satellite clinic. We need their main clinic where the bills go to, and who that person is that pays their bill, and their phone number and email. It's pretty simple information. And then again, down here, for them to receive the discount, you're putting the doctor's name, their address, and this spells out the 40% discount right here in item number 4. How we invoice them, our terms, and then signed by the customer and signed by us. So that the paperwork's pretty simple.
Quick question for you. Sorry to interrupt.
Yep. No, please do.
Is this a one-time onboarding process per account? So once we sign on, let's say a vascular surgeon, we fill out all this, they place an order, then can they just keep ordering, and then do we get credit as they keep ordering, or do
Yeah,
we have to
yes.
fill this out every time?
No, one time. So once you've onboarded the clinic, that's your account. You're the point of contact. Nothing happens in that account without your involvement. So, good reps, good reps are very close to their accounts. You don't have to be there very much, but you're talking to them on a weekly basis, and you're following up with them. You're making sure that they have their graphs. You're making sure that the IVRs have been run. You're making sure that they're clear. But the bad reps will drop this off and get a clinic going and never touch base with them again. That, I'm just telling you from experience, they will go somewhere else eventually. But yeah, if they continue to order from us and you send in the paperwork and you never talk to them again, you're still going to get electronically paid by me every single month, because that's your account. So
Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. So you get Dr. Smith going, you find out Dr. Smith's contact person, you guys have had lunch, you know how their office flows, they want to do business with you, you're close to, Mary or John or whoever's doing the ordering. It's typically, it's not complicated, guys, but typically they know, like, okay, Tuesdays and Thursdays they apply patches on patients. So Friday you're going to be connecting with your contact in the office, sending in all the, or Thursday of the previous week, who's coming in next Tuesday for patches. Okay, let's send all their information in, make sure they're approved for these patches, and then they'll get back the answers the next day, and then you'll order the graphs for Tuesday's patients. They'll come in, they'll check them into their office, they'll put them on their patients, and then you're doing the same thing Monday for Thursday. Like 3 days, 4 days in advance of when they put the patches on, you're submitting for insurance approval, and then you're ordering. And once a patient is approved, you don't have to get insurance approval every application. That patient's approved. But for new patients, and we'll have reps that can walk you guys through this process, but it's kind of like, and the offices already know how they want to do it. You're not making this up for them. They'll tell you how they want to do it. But I'm just giving you an overview of how it goes down. You touch base with Mary. Hey, Mary, how many patients we got next week? Let's run IVRs on these new ones. Do we have the graphs you need for all the returning patients? And it's like that. And then you maybe send them a text like, hey, you got everything, you're good. Yep, great. They put them on. You guys don't need to be there for that process. So this is the paperwork side of it here, and the contract. That's great. Guys come up to that. So you sign the onboarding form, they come on board, you send that into our customer service. We onboard them. So they're a customer now. They have an agreement in place. Now we can ship them product. So how does that happen? There's an IVR form, it's just insurance verification form. And you guys will be selling into physician offices or nursing homes, probably assisted living. And all this is what they send in to get patient approval. And again, it's Medicare, TRICARE, and then some of their secondaries pick up the other 20%. So this part of the form, which is the doctor that's going to be using, or the nurse practitioner that's going to be applying the patches, you guys can fill this out for them electronically and give them a permanent one of these with all this filled out. For the patient's information, every clinic has what's called a face sheet, which is that patient's demographics and insurance information. So they take the patient's face sheet and they take this form that you guys have already electronically put the doctor's information into, and they fax them to us. The doctor signs it. So you give them like 10 or 20 of these, they sign them all. And then when they want to send one in, they grab the patient's face sheet, they grab this sheet, and they email or fax them over to RevoGen. It's reimbursements at it's up here at the top, reimbursements at RevoGen Bio or fax. And then the insurance people turn around within about 24 hours, send the office back, yep, these 5 are approved, these 5 are not approved. And then they know, okay, these are the 5 we're going to order grafts for, and they place their order. So that's the flow for approving insurance. Now, if we come back and we tell them this patient's approved and you're good to go, and they order the grafts and they submit the claim to Medicare, and Medicare does not pay them or denies them, then we will help them appeal that claim. And if we can't win the appeal, then they will not pay for the graft. So they have to use this process, though, you guys. I can't stress to you enough, as independent reps, you can cause a lot of issues by walking, coming into one of your customers and saying, oh, you got 10 wound care patients next week, let's order 10 patches, and you don't check insurance, and they start putting patches on patients that are not approved, and they're $20,000 wound care grafts. You can imagine how uptight and how pissed off your customers are going to be if they get bills for these grafts and there's no reimbursement. So it's not a cowboy deal. Do it right. Use the IVR process. Don't order grafts that you haven't verified the patients are cleared for ahead of time. Now, Mohs surgery is different. They might do 30 surgeries in a day. Those doctors will keep these on the shelf. But the regular wound care doctors are just ordering them patient by patient. So any questions on that so far?
Yeah,
This is
Scott. Is there,
Yeah.
Hey,
Scott.
when we onboard a new physician group, are we contacting them to a reimbursement team, or is this a process that they're so familiar with that's really not necessary unless there's an issue?
Either or. In every situation for you, and every office is a little different. We want to provide them the experience that they need to be comfortable, to be good customers, and to demonstrate you and our customer service. So some offices need, would like to talk to Mary, our reimbursement specialist, and some of them don't need to. So you'll learn that as you bring them on. They'll tell you that.
Appreciate it.
You bet. So that's the general overview, guys. And again, targets are for the ocular, all those eyeglass places that we pass every day, all day long. There's tons of optometrists in the world. A lot of them are not using these products and would like to use them if they knew more about them. And then your wound care doctors that we talked about. So you have vascular surgeons, plastic surgeons, wound care doctors, podiatrists, and dermatologic Mohs surgeons. And Quentin, Mike, Cole, Nisha, those are our customer service and sales experts. I'm one of the owners, so I'm available to you guys too. You'll have clinical calls, you'll have some studies to read through and educate yourselves. You'll have an amnion training guide to study amnion more in depth as just a product, and understand what it is and where it comes from, and sharpen your knowledge on that. And then a starter pack with some brochures to get you guys started making calls. And we'll be available to talk to your customers. I'll be available to Zoom with them. I'm not going to, for the most part, unless it's something pretty extravagant and intricate, I don't like to travel if I don't have to. But in some cases, maybe even a visit from some of us to help you close a key count or two is possible as well. So that's it, I think, for today, unless you guys have any other questions. Has everybody, Cole, do you want everybody to send you an address if they want a starter pack? Do you want them to send the request to you, or how are we doing that now?
Mike will send out a welcome email with Dropbox link and everything.
Okay.
Then they can reach back to Mike or Cole with.
Yeah. Okay. So set expectations here, guys. Mike, when you sign your contract, you should get an email from Mike Griffith giving you access to the Dropbox, all the materials that we just talked about electronically. the onboarding documents, the contracts for the doctors to sign, all of that will be in the Dropbox. Cole, have you put the studies in the Dropbox yet?
Yeah.
So, okay. So we'll get you guys the studies in the Dropbox. You can take any and all of this information that you're comfortable talking off of to your local Kinko's, get a few sheets laminated for talking points. So you'll have Dropbox, you'll have welcome email that will introduce you to the team, answer the frequently asked questions, and then you'll start receiving opportunities to hop on calls like this for training on either sales training, clinical training, or Mohs training or ocular training. Those are the 4 that we're offering currently. So you'll get in the loop on all that once you guys have all signed your contracts. And so look for those things, and then just start shooting us, your questions as you have them. Let us know what else you need to get going. And I look forward to working with all you guys. Appreciate your time today.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Tim.
You
Yeah,
bet.
thank you.
Look forward to talking to y'all more. Thanks.
Very good.
For sure.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.